Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we delve into the chilling world of demons in disguise, angelic beings who turn to darkness. These aren't your typical monsters, these are celestial entities once bathed in divine light, now corrupted by pride, vengeance, and rebellion. From Lucifer's fall to ancient mythologies that echo similar tales, we explore the origins, stories, and symbolic meanings behind these fallen beings. What caused their descent? And what do their stories reveal about humanity itself? Stay tuned as we uncover the hidden truths behind the most captivating transformations in the spiritual realm. Let's dive in. Lucifer, once the highest of archangels in Christian theology. Lucifer is one of the most enigmatic and controversial figures in Christian theology. Often associated with Satan, he is believed to have once held the most exalted position among the heavenly hosts, only to fall from grace due to pride and rebellion. This dramatic transformation from the highest of archangels to the prince of darkness is not only a theological narrative but also a profound moral allegory. The story of Lucifer is embedded in centuries of theological interpretation, cultural evolution, and biblical exegesis, drawing from sources like Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Revelation, as well as apocryphal and extra-biblical texts. 1. The name Lucifer and its biblical origin. The term Lucifer is a Latin word meaning light-bringer or morning star, derived from the Vulgate translation of the Bible, specifically in Isaiah 14 verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? KJV. In the Hebrew text, the word used is Helel ben Shakar, which translates to shining one, son of the dawn. Originally, this passage was a taunt against the king of Babylon, a metaphor for human arrogance. However, later Christian tradition reinterpreted this passage as an allegorical description of the fall of Satan. This rereading identified Lucifer as a once glorious celestial being cast down due to hubris. Explanation. The name Lucifer wasn't initially a proper name for Satan. It was only through Latin translation and theological development that it became synonymous with the devil. This passage illustrates how biblical interpretation evolves over time, often blending metaphor with dogma. 2. Lucifer's position before the fall. Lucifer is believed to have once held the most glorious and powerful position among angels, perhaps even more so than Michael or Gabriel. Though not explicitly described in canonical scripture, this idea is extrapolated from texts such as Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17, which speaks of the king of Tyre, in terms that many theologians believe also describe Lucifer symbolically. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. Explanation. This passage, like Isaiah 14, is originally a condemnation of a human ruler, yet it is richly symbolic. Later theology interprets it as referring to a heavenly being, Lucifer, described as being full of light, wisdom, and beauty. The phrase, guardian cherub, implies a very high angelic rank, responsible for protection and perhaps worship. 3. The nature of Lucifer's sin. The sin of Lucifer is traditionally understood to be pride, the desire to exalt himself above God. According to Christian theology, Lucifer's internal rebellion was a willful rejection of divine order. Isaiah 14 verses 13 to 14 provides insight into this aspiration. I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High. Explanation. This is often cited as the 5 I wills of Lucifer, a manifesto of self-exaltation. His desire was not mere ambition, but a fundamental inversion of the created order. In Christian thought, pride is considered the original sin of Lucifer, and by extension, the root of all sin in humanity as well. 4. The war in heaven. The book of Revelation offers the most vivid depiction of Lucifer's downfall. In Revelation 12 verses 7 to 9, a war breaks out in heaven. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan. This passage refers to a celestial battle where Lucifer, here symbolized as the dragon, is defeated and cast out of heaven, along with his angels, who become demons. Explanation. This moment is key in Christian cosmology. It describes the transition of Lucifer from a heavenly being to the adversary of God, Satan, meaning accuser or adversary in Hebrew. The reference to Michael is important. As the leader of the heavenly armies, he stands in contrast to Lucifer, who leads the forces of rebellion. 5. Extra-biblical sources and the fall narrative. Outside the canonical texts, the Book of Enoch, Paradise Lost by John Milton, and writings of early church fathers, e.g., Origen, Tertullian, further elaborate on Lucifer's fall. In the Book of Enoch, certain angels fall due to lust, but this theme is extended to include disobedience and pride. Milton's Paradise Lost famously dramatizes Lucifer's fall with the line, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." Explanation. Milton's epic solidified the image of Lucifer as a tragic, charismatic rebel. While not scripture, these texts heavily influenced how Western Christianity views Satan, not just as evil incarnate, but as a being of immense former glory, whose downfall stemmed from his own greatness. 6. Lucifer and the concept of free will. Lucifer's fall is often used in theology to illustrate the concept of free will. God, in Christian doctrine, created angels and humans with the freedom to choose. Lucifer's rebellion was an act of volition, not compulsion. This reinforces the notion that love and obedience must be freely chosen to be genuine. Lucifer's sin, then, was a tragic misuse of his freedom, one that had cosmic consequences. Explanation. This theme underscores a key principle in Christian philosophy, the idea that moral agency is essential. Lucifer's fall is not just a story about punishment, it is a cautionary tale about the potential cost of self-will over divine order. 7. Lucifer's role after the fall, Satan and the tempter. Post-fall, Lucifer becomes Satan, the adversary. He is depicted in various roles. The accuser, in the book of Job, Satan challenges the righteousness of Job before God. The tempter, in the Gospels, Satan tempts Jesus in the wilderness. The deceiver, Revelation describes Satan as the one who deceives the whole world. Explanation. These roles all reflect opposition to God's will and plan for humanity. Lucifer, once the light-bearer, becomes the bringer of darkness. He embodies everything that seeks to separate humanity from God. 8. Theological interpretations across time. Different branches of Christianity interpret Lucifer's story in various ways. Catholicism teaches that Lucifer was created good but chose evil, and his fall serves as a warning to all creatures with free will. Eastern Orthodoxy is more cautious in identifying Lucifer specifically with the devil, emphasizing the symbolic nature of biblical texts. Protestant traditions often hold a more literal view of the fall narrative, especially in evangelical circles. Explanation. Interpretation of Lucifer's identity and fall depends heavily on theology and tradition. Not all Christians agree that Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28 refer to Satan. Nonetheless, the image of the fallen archangel has become central in much of Christian doctrine. 9. The redemption arc, humanity versus Lucifer. Unlike humanity, which is offered redemption through Christ, Lucifer and the fallen angels are not. Hebrews 2 verse 16 says, "For surely it is not angels he helps, but Abraham's descendants." Explanation. This distinction emphasizes the uniqueness of human redemption. Lucifer's rebellion is final and absolute, while humans are continually offered forgiveness. This deepens the moral contrast between stubborn pride and humble repentance. 10. Lucifer in modern culture. Lucifer has evolved from a theological figure into a complex character in literature, music, and television. In Neil Gaiman's Sandman or the TV series Lucifer, he is often portrayed with nuance, even sympathy. These depictions reflect modern sensibilities, often blurring the lines between good and evil. Explanation. While these cultural versions diverge from traditional theology, they reveal the lasting fascination with Lucifer's archetype. He is seen as a symbol of rebellion, individuality, and resistance to authority, values that resonate in secular contexts. Lucifer's story, as told through Christian theology, is one of brilliance lost through pride. Once the highest of archangels, a being of unmatched beauty and wisdom, he chose to oppose the very God who created him. His fall from heaven represents more than just a cosmic event, it is a reflection on the dangers of self-exaltation, the misuse of free will, and the tragic consequences of rebellion against divine order. Whether viewed as literal history or rich allegory, the figure of Lucifer continues to challenge, fascinate, and warn. His journey from light-bearer to prince of darkness offers a profound meditation on the nature of sin, the responsibilities of freedom, and the justice and mercy of God. The origin of angelic beings sent to watch over humanity, an exploration of the Book of Enoch. The concept of angelic beings, spiritual entities sent by a divine power to guide, protect, or oversee human affairs, is deeply embedded in many religious and cultural traditions. Among the most influential yet non-canonical texts that explore this concept is the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish apocalyptic work attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. Although not part of the standard biblical canon for most Jewish and Christian traditions, the Book of Enoch has significantly shaped theological perspectives on angels, especially those referred to as the Watchers. This essay will explore the origin and role of these angelic beings as presented in the Book of Enoch, tracing their divine purpose, their eventual fall from grace, and their lasting influence on theological thought. Through textual analysis and historical context, we will examine how these beings were originally sent to watch over humanity and how their actions brought about both enlightenment and corruption. Historical and literary background of the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch, or 1 Enoch, is part of a collection of pseudepigraphal texts, writings attributed to biblical figures but not included in the canonical Bible. Scholars believe it was composed between the 3rd century BCE and the 1st century CE, likely in stages. It survives primarily in Guizi, an ancient Ethiopian language, and is regarded as canonical in the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. The book was influential among Second Temple Jews and early Christians, including writers of the New Testament. Fragments of it were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, attesting to its widespread usage. The Book of Enoch consists of several sections, but the one most relevant to angelic beings is the Book of the Watchers, chapters 1 to 36. This portion narrates how a group of angels, called the Watchers, descended to earth with the divine mandate to guide and protect humanity. However, their story quickly becomes one of rebellion and corruption, culminating in severe divine punishment. 2. The Watchers, Divine Mandate and Purpose. The Watchers, known in Hebrew as Irim, are a group of 200 angels sent by God to observe and assist humankind. Their mission was rooted in a divine strategy to maintain cosmic order and moral integrity on Earth. The human world, in the Enochian context, was in a vulnerable state, threatened by chaos, ignorance, and violence. God dispatched the Watchers to provide moral guidance, teach righteousness, and protect humanity from self-destruction. Enoch 6:1-2 introduces the Watchers. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them. This passage marks the beginning of their divergence from their original purpose. Despite being divine emissaries, these angels become enamored with human women. Their attraction represents the dangerous intersection between divine beings and earthly desires, a theme that recurs throughout apocalyptic literature. 3. The Fall of the Watchers. The pivotal moment in the Book of Enoch is the decision of the Watchers to descend fully into human affairs, not as detached overseers, but as active participants. Their leader, Semyaza, or Semjaza, fears that only he will be held accountable if they act alone. To ensure complicity, he convinces the others to bind themselves with an oath. Enoch 6:3-5 describes their pact. Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan but to do this thing. Then they all swore together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. This act of collective rebellion represents a crucial theological motif. Angels, though divine, possess free will and are capable of transgression. The Watchers descend upon Mount Hermon, a location that becomes symbolic of their oath and their fall. Once on Earth, they take human wives, leading to the birth of the Nephilim, giant offspring who wreak havoc on the world. The Watchers not only introduce biological corruption but also intellectual and spiritual distortion. According to Enoch 8, they teach humans forbidden knowledge. Azazel teaches the art of war and cosmetics. Semyaza reveals enchantments. Barakijal teaches astrology. Kokabel imparts knowledge of the constellations. This revelation of secret knowledge disrupts the divine order. What was meant to be a passive guardianship turns into a destructive interference. The Watchers essentially accelerate humanity's fall by removing natural limits on knowledge and power. 4. Divine judgment and cosmic consequences. God, witnessing the corruption and violence spread by the Watchers and their progeny, orders the archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, to act. Enoch 10 records God's decree to destroy the Nephilim and imprison the Watchers. Azazel is cast into the desert and buried under sharp stones, symbolizing spiritual barrenness and punishment. The rest of the Watchers are bound in the abyss until the day of judgment. Enoch 10:12 reads, "Bind them for 70 generations underneath the earth, even to the day of judgment, and in those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire." This narrative of divine retribution emphasizes several theological principles. Justice and sovereignty. God remains the ultimate authority, capable of correcting even heavenly rebellion. Moral boundaries. There are limits to what should be known or shared. Forbidden knowledge leads to decay. Separation of realms. The divine and human spheres must remain distinct. The Watchers' fall illustrates the dangers of violating this separation. Enoch, the intercessor and prophet. In the midst of this cosmic crisis, Enoch emerges not merely as a bystander but as a chosen mediator. God grants him access to divine knowledge and heavenly realms. The Watchers, now imprisoned, plead with Enoch to intercede on their behalf. This is detailed in Enoch 13. "And they asked me to write a memorial prayer for them, that they might find forgiveness." But Enoch's intercession is rejected by God. Instead, Enoch is given a vision of the future and is tasked with proclaiming divine justice. His role as prophet and scribe parallels other biblical figures like Moses or Daniel, yet his access to celestial realms goes even deeper. In Enoch's journey through heaven, he sees the dwelling places of angels, the tree of life, and the throne of God. These visions reinforce the cosmic order and underscore Enoch's role as a bridge between the human and divine, a counterpoint to the Watchers, who crossed that boundary with disastrous results. 6. Theological and symbolic implications. The story of the Watchers contains rich theological symbolism. On one level, it is a myth of origin, explaining the presence of evil, violence, and esoteric knowledge among humans. On another, it is a meditation on divine order, justice, and the dangers of transgression. Angelic free will. The Watchers' rebellion challenges the notion that angels are wholly obedient automatons. The Book of Enoch presents a complex theology where even divine beings have agency and moral responsibility. Human limitation and hubris. The forbidden knowledge bestowed by the Watchers parallels other biblical warnings, such as the tree of knowledge in Genesis. Humanity's desire to transcend divine limits often results in downfall. Role of intercession. Enoch's unique status shows the importance of mediation in divine-human relationships. Unlike the Watchers, he respects divine boundaries and is therefore exalted. 7. Influence on later traditions. The Book of Enoch influenced both Jewish and Christian apocalyptic traditions. Its depiction of angelic hierarchies, demonic beings, and heavenly visions shaped the development of demonology and angelology in later texts. New Testament allusions. Jude 1 verse 6 references angels who did not keep their own domain, but abandoned their proper dwelling. 2 Peter 2 verse 4 echoes similar themes, referring to angels, cast into hell, and committed to chains of gloomy darkness. Christian theology. Early church fathers such as Tertullian and Irenaeus considered Enoch authoritative. Its teachings influenced concepts of spiritual warfare and divine judgment. Islamic parallels. Islamic traditions also speak of angels like Harut and Marut who descend and fall due to earthly temptation, parallels to the Watchers narrative. Literary legacy. The myth of the Watchers has inspired countless retellings, from Milton's Paradise Lost to modern fantasy literature, reflecting enduring questions about divine rebellion and human morality. The Book of Enoch presents a striking and deeply symbolic account of angelic beings, Watchers, sent to oversee humanity. Initially divine guardians, their descent into desire and rebellion transforms them into agents of corruption, leading to widespread chaos and divine retribution. Enoch, by contrast, embodies the ideal of faithful mediation between heaven and earth. While outside the canon of most religious traditions, the Book of Enoch offers a powerful theological framework for understanding the relationship between the divine, the angelic, and the human. It reveals the fragility of divine order when crossed by desire and hubris, yet also the possibility of redemption through obedience and wisdom. In doing so, it remains one of the most profound explorations of angelic origin and destiny in ancient literature. Thanks for watching Demons in Disguise, Angelic Beings Who Turn to Darkness. These stories remind us that even the brightest lights can cast the darkest shadows. If you found this dive into fallen angels and their hidden histories intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep explorations into myth, legend, and the unseen. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe these beings still influence our world today? Until next time, stay curious, question everything, and remember, not everything that shines is divine. See you in the next video as we uncover more secrets of the unknown.